So the first one I have to ask you guys is multiple times you said, oh, ask your tech people, get your tech people involved, or more broadly, convene a committee to have these conversations. That's actually, as you noted, a change in process, and it requires context for the people who are going to be in these committees. Any pearls of wisdom on how to set context quickly for these people so they help you instead of just discussing something endlessly and you never get anything done?
I'm going to take a stab at that.
Yes, you should.
In my mind, I draw
Because I get involved when it's all gone
Wrong.
pear-shaped,
Yeah.
to use I'm an American lawyer, just so you know. I grew up in England, but pear-shaped is an English expression, meaning it went wrong.
Yeah, it starts with an F in the U.S. But I draw a distinction between people in the data organization and the tech group. And I think they have very different roles. They are parts of different organizations. They report under different lines. There's no good line with the C-suite. So when I spoke tech, it was out of false, it was brief, but too brief. I think you really have to have the data organization involved in this.
Well, fair enough, but I think you also have to have in a couple of cases you said broader groups of people because it comes down to, decisions about intellectual property that, and my question really is how do you get the context for them? How do you provide to them something so they understand what the problems are and what the issues are with AI, and they may not be the most familiar with AI?
That's the challenge. It's not easy, but you have to establish a cross-functional group with some continuity of membership so that people are working together. And usually it falls to lawyers to work with compliance people, legal department, IT department, and the data people, all in the context where these programs are subject to high C-suite scrutiny. So the chances of doing the right thing and still being criticized are high. So you have to get everybody involved.
So basically, I like that continuity, which gets back to the question we were talking about earlier over lunch, which is how many folks have groups involved in AI that are the same group, week over week, month over month, because that becomes important because you get that shared knowledge base. And then you mentioned compliance, you mentioned legal, you mentioned data. I would also say tech has to be there because there's a lot of tech implications for all of this. Cybersecurity, and oh, by the way, this needs oversight from the C-suite, which means you all have to have thick skins.
And theoretically, there's critical infrastructure and national security implications depending on who you are and what you do.
And I think we have like 30 seconds left, and I do want to ask one last question here. Does anyone else have any other questions, though? Oh, we have one. Jerry.
Hey, good afternoon. My question is very simple. I was hearing you guys talk. I remember maybe 10 years ago, they start talking about, hey, all companies should get cybersecurity insurance, right, to cover their behind. I don't know how British say it, behind, but right.
Bum is good.
Yeah. So, do you think that the companies, especially financial areas, should go back and reevaluate their insurance policy on AI? Should they get a more insurance on AI? Because again,
shall I talk to that a little bit? I've had a couple of clients with cybersecurity problems and with data breaches and with insurance claims. And those policies can be incredibly beneficial. Sometimes you can force an insurance company to pay out millions on data breaches, but I have not yet seen a situation where AI or the use of it has triggered any cyber policy. So really, the definitions on those sorts of policies are much more about ransomware and intrusion and data breaches, not consensual arrangements or agreeing to try and start using somebody else's technology, which then has an unintended consequence. So that's a long way of saying I would not bank on being able to get a policy that I haven't seen them writing policies that cover that sort of risk. So it's better to think about it before the database is downloaded.
And I hate to sort of cut everything off, but unfortunately we have to do that. But thank you very much, Toby and Bill. That was great, thought-provoking. So thank you, gentlemen.